From the Workers Credit Union studio here at Fitchburg Access Television, welcome to Election Night Coverage 2021. I'm Kevin Cormier along with my friend and co-host Mark Bedanza. I think this is number 4 for us.
I believe you're right.
Fourth time in a
Thanks
row.
for having me.
It's great to be back with you, Mark.
Thank you very much.
So we also welcome our viewers who are watching this evening on LTV, who are watching online, and are also listening on WLPZ 95.1 FM. We thank all of our affiliates for covering this FATV, FLAP TV production of Election 21. So the polls close in 1 hour from now. We've invited all the candidates to come join us here, or we're going to get them in our live shot in our 8 o'clock hour. And we also had FLAP TV's Glenn Fossa and Alex Vera and our producer Robin Como out in the field today doing interviews with voters, volunteers, and candidates, and we'll be playing some of those clips in this hour also. Mark, what are you hearing about turnout out there?
Well, it looks like it's going to be pretty sparse from what I can tell in both cities. It's really, I don't know sure there's what the issues are that drive turnout this year. It doesn't seem to be anything too significant or burning that is driving turnout. So we're not expecting a significant turnout, I don't think, in either city from what we can tell.
There really hasn't been that one issue that really riles people up like we've seen in previous elections.
Yeah.
Even in 2017 in Leominster, you had the issues with the school budget,
right,
which really drove out turnout in what was technically an uncontested race, but a write-in candidate came within, what, 106 votes of toppling Dean Mazzarella.
You're right, Kevin. That race probably more than any, modern race, or the last few years at least, has had an issue that really drove some people to the polls. But since then, there hasn't been that one burning issue that's really sent people to go out and vote.
Yeah, Fitchburg as well. I mean, you have the constant issue of the condition of roads. That is something that you always hear from voters. But there really hasn't been a burning issue in Fitchburg, one that really galvanizes people, I think, since Lisa Wong turned off the streetlights back in 2010.
You need something like that. You need an issue to drive people to the polls. I mean, once they get there, the choice is, dictated by likability, trust of the candidates. But that likability and trust for the candidates doesn't really necessarily get people to go out and vote. I think you really need that issue to get people to the polls.
Contested races also help drive people to the polls.
True.
And we lack that in both cities, both in Leominster and Fitchburg. Each city only has one contested ward race, and those aren't even incumbents being challenged. In Ward 6, Beth Walsh is decided not to seek a third term, and you have two newcomers vying for that seat, Olivia Tran and Derek Cruz. And in Leominster, you have Bill Brady and Mike Stassen vying for the seat left vacant with the passing of Gail Feckley.
Right, yeah.
And I think for the first time, and you're the historian, but I think, is it the first time in Leominster history that someone's just going to walk into a councilor at large seat without
Yeah, I don't know that that's ever occurred. I don't think that's ever happened. No.
Yeah. So you have 4 candidates for 4 seats. One of them's a newcomer, so you don't even have a contest there. Do have a little bit of a contest in Fitchburg with the at-large race. We have 8 candidates vying for 5 seats. I think that's going to be an interesting one to watch.
That is the race, I think, to watch in Fitchburg. So that'll be interesting how that unfolds.
Yeah.
And one of those newcomers, so to speak, is pretty well known and has a great following in Fitchburg. So,
Sally Cragen, and I don't even know if you can technically call her a newcomer. She's a longtime member of the school committee, so she's run in elections before. She's a familiar name on the ballot in Fitchburg. So she's running for one of those seats. And you also have Tom Hughes, who is an incumbent, but this is really his first campaign because he was appointed by the city council when Mike Kushmerek resigned to take the state rep seat.
So that's got a different dynamic to it.
It does have a different dynamic, and I think for the first time in a while in Fitchburg, we actually probably can't sit here and know, even in the back of our heads, who those 5 candidates are going to be. A lot of times it's just the inside game of, okay, who's going to come in first, who's going to come in second, who's going to be that top vote getter. But I think there is actually an unknown in Fitchburg in the council large race.
Well, it makes it interesting.
It does. It does. I mean, I think we can all guess probably who the top 3 or 4 are going to be, unless there's any surprises. And as you know, there tends to be at least one surprise every election.
Well, a lot of times there is, that's for sure. You know, that we never know exactly what the voters are thinking.
Yeah, and where there does seem to be more contests than not is school committee, more
Yeah.
so than city council. In both races in Fitchburg, we have 4 candidates vying for 3 seats on the school committee, 2 incumbents and 2
Right.
newcomers vying for 3 seats.
Similar situation in Leominster with the at-large race for school committee.
Yeah, you have
Four candidates for three slots.
4 candidates for 3 slots, and you also have 2 contested ward races.
Right, Ward 1 and Ward 3.
For school committee.
Right.
And in Fitchburg, as we know, they don't, there are no ward school committee, right? They're all
Right.
at large in Fitchburg, and they have,
Right.
they're staggered. So there are 3 open seats this election cycle.
Yep. Interesting parallels that the school committee in both communities really is sort of the greater hotbed of contest than anything else.
It is,
Yeah.
it is. And what do you think is driving that? Do you think it's, you know, in 2017 it was the school budget. Is it the mask mandate? And
Oh, it's clearly the...
Is that what it is?
The pandemic, certainly in Leominster at least, drove a lot more interest in the school committee, for sure.
And we're even seeing that on the national level with
First closing-
security brought in at school board meetings.
First closing the schools, you know, what to do about that, the remote learning option, what the best way to handle all that was, and then mask mandates and all the rest, so it continues.
And then we have the 2 contested races for mayor in the
Right.
Twin Cities. In
Right.
Fitchburg, we have Steve DiNatale versus Andrew Cordio. Andrew Cordio ran once before for city councilor at large, was unsuccessful. Started a second campaign for Register of Deeds last election, but never did turn in the nomination papers. And now is running for mayor against Steve DiNatale, who's, that's an uphill battle.
Right, oh yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, Mayor DiNatale's never lost an election in his long career, and his margins of victory have always been landslide
pretty
victories.
solid,
He's never been in a close race.
No, and you know, no one ever really knows, but it is an uphill battle for sure.
And again, but in a low voter turnout election, you never know what can happen when we have a very low voter turnout.
That's true.
What are you seeing in Leominster? You're right there on the ground in Leominster between Dean Mazzarella
Well, I
and
mean,
Andrea
I
Freeman.
think this is the mayor's 15th run for office, right? So, you know, and there's been, there's been at least one hiccup along the way. You know, in 2017 with the anomaly of that race with Kenny Ricker. Kenny Ricker, a very popular, well-known, well-liked person, and as you said earlier, there was a big issue in 2017 with the school budget. And as a write-in candidate, you know, came within a whisker. And that really is an outlier because Mazzarella has won every other race pretty handily.
I remember, and I remember election night in 2017 being in city council chambers with you. We were both shocked.
Yeah.
We hadn't been that shocked since 1993.
Yeah, 1993
Yeah,
with
we hadn't
Mahan
been,
and
we hadn't been
Mazzarella.
that surprised since then.
Yeah.
So Flap TV's Glenn Fossa caught up with Mayor Dean Mazzarella out at the polls today. And if we could run that clip of what Mayor Mazzarella had to say while he was out there meeting voters today outside the polling location. You know, when he came on the scene in 1993, he was just full of energy and passion, and I don't think he's lost anything off his fastball when it comes to the passion and energy that he brings.
No, I think he runs hard every race. I think he takes every race seriously, and I've actually witnessed a couple of them as a campaign manager, so of his opponent.
Yes.
So you know, I absolutely think he hasn't changed.
He hasn't. And he's a scrapper too.
Oh, yeah,
he's kind of
100%.
the old school campaigner.
Yeah.
He's out there fighting, and I think especially after the scare in 2017.
Yeah.
He wasn't taking anything for granted in this race.
Yeah, I think there's always something to be learned, right, from every campaign, and I think the lesson for Dean Mazzarella in that campaign is that even though someone is a write-in candidate, it doesn't necessarily mean you ignore them.
Right.
So the conventional wisdom, you know, for Dean and a lot of candidates is a write-in candidate you don't pay any attention to because they're not on the ballot, and you don't want to draw greater, you know, attention to them on the ballot. So that's pretty much what he did, and that, of course, proved to be a mistake.
So we did try to catch Ms. Freeman at the polls today. We tried. We were not successful. I guess she was out knocking doors, so we weren't able to connect with Ms. Freeman. But Flap TV's Alex Vera was able to, or excuse me, Glenn again was able to talk to some of Ms. Freeman's supporters out there at the polls, get their perspective on the race and some of their reasons why they're out there on this beautiful October day holding signs. So we'll go back to the clip at the polling place today. So we have some energy behind the Freeman campaign also out there holding signs. Like not like the old days where we used to have like 100 people down. Remember the old Pearl and Gerard race?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You'd have hundreds of people downtown holding signs. You don't have that anymore, but they're all on social media.
I think maybe.
We have a guest. we have a new guest that came in during the clip. The president of the Fitchburg City Council, Anthony Zarella.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate that you guys always make the effort to put this coverage out there.
What did your day look like today?
Just bouncing around from ward to ward. Unfortunately, not a heck of a lot of turnout, but, you know, gotta stay out there and see the people who did bother to come out, and I think it was a good day overall.
What do you attribute to such a low? Because Fitchburg, from what I've been seeing for numbers, is even going to be lower than Leominster. Both of them have contested mayor's race. Fitchburg, unlike Leominster, even has a contested councilor at large race, and both cities have one contested ward council race. So, why is Fitchburg seeing such a low voter turnout? Is it content, do you think, of voters, or?
It's hard to say. I think it's a combination of some degree of contentment and some people who think that no matter what they do, nothing's going to change. And then I think just apathy, which is sad. I mean, I've been trying to brainstorm ways we can drive up turnout next time around,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Mark and I were talking about this. Really hasn't been an issue in Fitchburg that's galvanized people since Lisa Wong turned off the streetlights. And could that be part of it?
yeah, I mean, there's a few things that keep coming up, but the vast majority of things that people talk about, at least that they talk to me about, are kind of long-standing, long-run kind of issues, you know, the roads, stuff like that. Very valid issues, of course, but not things that get people energized for an election because it's year after year after year after year. I also think that a lot of people don't give enough thought to how important local elections are in their day-to-day lives.
Agreed.
People turn out for the presidential, the Senate, you know, but honestly, on a day-to-day basis, how much does who we send to the Senate change people's lives in Fitchburg? That's not to say it's not important.
Right.
It's definitely important to have your say in the federal government, but does it change people's lives day to day? Does it change their, you know, their property values, their
Elizabeth
employment
Warren's
chances?
not going to fill my
their-
potholes. Is she?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
But these elections, you know, who's on the council, who's in the mayor's office, who's on the school committee, that affects the things that people care about
Sure.
each and every day of the year, but they don't show up.
And it's James Michael Curley said, it's James Michael Curley or Tip O'Neill that said all politics is
I
local.
think it was Tip.
Tip O'Neill.
Tip O'Neill.
All politics is local. We've lost that, haven't we?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think especially in the internet era, everyone's
Yeah.
thinking national politics, everyone's debating national politics. I've gotten emails from people, I'm not going to say specifics about the topics because that would just inject unnecessary controversy, but I've gotten emails from people asking me to stake out a position on national level issues that there is no chance that the Fitchburg City Council is ever going to vote on.
Right.
And my response was basically, okay, here's my position, I'll be honest with you, but this is irrelevant to Fitchburg politics.
Right.
You know, I am never going to be asked to vote on that. My colleagues are never going to be asked to vote on
Anthony,
that.
what do you think about, you know, the whole focus in terms of the media's shifted? Just really in the last few years, the local newspapers really doesn't show up on local issues. I mean, I don't know, they don't cover us and let us
No,
know.
us either.
You know, they used to be pages of coverage after every meeting. So that's all gone by the wayside, and now we're shifted to social media. You think that's made a difference in what people are talking about and whether local issues rise to the occasion?
I think so, yeah, because a lot of the first of all, a lot of people, we still have a fair percentage of people in the city who are older and don't necessarily spend as much time online.
Right.
So they're just not hearing anything about the issues now that the papers aren't reporting it. And then you've got the people who are spending a lot of time online, but the nature of algorithms, Facebook, Twitter,
Right.
whatever, it puts everyone in a bubble. The stuff you consume more of, you get more of.
Right.
And so everyone tends to either be of the opinion that everyone already agrees with them and so there's no point in voting, or their cause is not being heard and therefore there's no point in voting because none of the candidates are going to represent them. And that's hardly ever actually true.
Right.
But it's the way that the algorithms and the
confirmatory
media bubble,
bias, yeah.
exactly, it's what it makes
So
it seem
polls
like.
close in 40 minutes in Fitchburg, end of the campaign. Going to give you the last word to say something to your voters out there, Council President Anthony Zarella.
Thank you. Basically, I'm going to say what I've been saying, which is if you haven't gone to vote, go vote. If you're one of my voters, go vote. If you really want to vote me out, go vote. Just have your say, because I hear all the time from people who have strong opinions on the way things are going in the city, but the number of opinions I hear isn't matched by the number of votes that are being cast. And it's critical. It's absolutely critical that you participate. And if you think you're not being heard, call me. Call one of my colleagues. All our numbers are public. Mine goes directly to my cell phone. I don't have a separate business phone or anything like that. Call me. Ask me to, have coffee or whatever. I'll spend a few hours talking through whatever you think isn't being heard, and it will be heard. I may not agree. Same thing goes for my colleagues. I know most of them would say the same thing. We may not agree, but we will hear you. We will talk to you. And if you think something needs to change, you need to tell us. Because if you just put it out there on social media, some of us aren't going to see it at all. And those of us who do, it's going to get lost in the din. It's going to get lost in the never-ending stream of opinions. But a face-to-face conversation, that makes an impact. I can remember, I can't necessarily remember the name of every individual person I've talked to about things, but I can remember nearly every issue that people have brought up to me. And it makes a difference.
Very
Right.
accessible. Thank you.
Yep.
Great luck,
Good luck.
tonight.
Yep.
Thank you.
Council President Anthony Zarella.
Thanks for coming by, Anthony.
Thank you.
Have a great evening, and thank you again for doing this.
Thank you. Flap TV's Glenn Fossa talked with mayoral candidate Andrew Cordio today out at the polling locations, and here is a little bit of that conversation. Good. And that was mayoral candidate Andrew Cordio, who is challenging incumbent Mayor Steve DiNatale today. I believe that, who talked? Alex talked to Mayor DiNatale today. Flap TV's Alex Vera talked with Mayor DiNatale today, who was also out at the polls greeting voters. And for those who follow local politics will remember young Alex Vera was a challenger to Mayor DiNatale back in 2017. Young, unknown, first run for office, but went out there, gave it his all. It was before we started doing debates, and the Sentinel had already abandoned us by that point. So unfortunately there was no mayoral debate that year, so Alex was never able to debate the incumbent mayor, but he gave it a shot, and now
No, he's interviewing him.
he's interviewing him now. He's come a long way. He's now the president of the Rotary Club in Fitchburg.
good for
He's
him.
doing a lot of great things in the city, and sometimes, you know, running for office, even if it's not successful, can catapult you and inspire you to really
That's so
serve your
true.
community in
Yeah.
many different ways. So we have Andrew Cordio, who is the challenger this year to incumbent Mayor Stephen DiNatale. How's it going?
Very good.
How was the day out there today? What'd you do?
Bounced around, hit all the polling locations, you know, waving, a lot of sign holding, a lot of waving, a lot of smiling. Yeah.
How you feeling?
Very good, very good.
How did you find voters to be receptive to your message? Obviously, we had the debate here. It was a lively debate. You know, you held your own, he held his own.
Yeah.
But you come from different perspectives.
Yeah.
How do you feel that your message has resonated?
I feel people are ready for change. Yeah, I got a lot of great feedback after the debate. A lot of people reached out, a lot of positive encouragement from everybody. People were happy to hear it, and people are not too thrilled with the plans for downtown with those two buildings, it seems like. And yeah, I mean, I'm just, it's all come to a head tonight. My head's kind of spinning right now. You know, I'm waiting for these numbers to come in, and yeah, it's been good. People have been very receptive to change. People are ready. People are sick and tired of the same old from government at all levels, you know.
What have you learned in this campaign that you probably weren't expecting?
The city is bigger than you would imagine. It really is. I just, coming from, you know, the diner background, and I thought I knew a lot of people in town, and I do, but there is a lot of people in town, and we have some really great people in town too. You know, we get some high-class citizens, some physicians and stuff like that, and people of all walks of life. It's been cool. It's been eye-opening, the whole experience.
This your first run for office?
My first run for mayor.
Yeah.
Yep. I ran for city council in 2017, and I unfortunately had to abandon the campaign
I see.
due to a family death. But yeah.
So if you win tonight, you begin the transition to be the next mayor of the city of Fitchburg.
Yeah.
If things don't go your way tonight, what's next for Andrew Cordio in the city of Fitchburg?
I'll be back to flipping burgers in the short term, and then we'll see, you know, where life brings me from there.
More intriguing question. If you pulled off this big upset win,
Yeah.
what do you feel like tomorrow, knowing the responsibility that lays ahead?
Yeah, there's a weight that'll come with it, but it's something that I've been prepping for a long time, and I'd be really enthusiastic and yeah, just excited to take on the challenge, all the challenges ahead. Like the mayor was saying, you know, you wake up in the morning, sometimes you don't know how the day's going to go, and I kind of feel like I thrive in that environment, and it's exciting. The prospect of it is just, it's exciting.
All right, you want to take a couple seconds and address the voters as we are 1/2 hour away from the polls closing on election 2021.
Fantastic, awesome. Sure, yeah, hi guys. If you haven't voted, go vote. We still have a little bit of time. If you have voted, thank you. If you voted for me, extra thank you. Everybody who's come and supported, everybody who reached out, people who helped hold signs, and just all the conversations I had. I just want to say thank you to everybody, all the kind words. Win or lose, this has been just a great experience for me. And Fitchburg really is a great place to live, and it's a great place to be proud of. So thank you, everybody, and thank you, Kevin.
Andrew Cordio, best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for being involved, being engaged, and giving the voters a choice.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, best wishes, whichever way it goes.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
good luck.
Have a great night, guys.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So switching back to Leominster for a moment, we do have a contested ward race in the city of Leominster, the only contested ward race, which is between Bill Brady and Mike Stassen vying for the seat left open by the passing of Gail Feckley. That's an interesting dynamic too. You have Mike
is.
Stassen, who's
Yeah.
a school committee member, an elected representative of the people, but then you have Bill Brady, who's a restaurateur, right? Talk about being close to the people and having an ear to the community by seeing all those people down at Brady's restaurant every day.
Well,
And
wasn't one of Jack Kennedy's relatives that said you want to get elected by a bar or something?
yeah, be a bartender.
So it's
It
not
really-
far off.
It really beckons me back to the days of Bobby George, who was a barber, right? Barbers and bartenders.
Yeah.
I mean, they hear it all. They know
Sure.
everything that's going on in the city. So you have that aspect, but then you have Mike Stassen, who's actually involved in the city government,
Yeah.
the school committee.
Yeah, finance chair of the school committee too.
Yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic for me because I get a new colleague potentially tomorrow, as early as tomorrow.
Right, because they would take office right away.
They get
correct?
sworn in as soon as the clerk certifies the election. Yeah.
Excellent. So,
So the next meeting is November 8th, and they would be sitting in one seat. It's been a, in a lot of ways, very sad year because of sort of Gail's passing, and it's still hard to put wrap my head around all of that.
She served the city a long time
Yeah, we
and
came
served
into,
it well.
We came into office at the same time. We had a great relationship. I enjoyed serving with her immensely, and it just seems so quick. Life can turn on a dime, as you well know.
Okay.
So.
We had the debate between Bill Brady and Mike Stassen. It was a very cordial debate. A lot of
surprised.
agreement.
Not surprised.
No, two nice guys.
Yeah,
really
I think
nice
so,
guys.
yeah.
A lot of agreement, a little bit of disagreement, but not too much that came through in the debate. We caught up with both of them today outside Skyview Middle School, and we will go to both of those clips. First, Alex Vera talked to Bill Brady, and then Glenn Fawcett talked to Mike Stassen. So let's go to that video of those two Ward 1 candidates in Leominster. And I think you saw both of those personalities in that clip. Just two really nice guys.
Yes.
I think, just from my view, I think Ward 1 and Leominster would be well served by either of those candidates.
Yeah,
Not too often you can say that, right?
Yeah, no, I
Usually
think
they all, you know,
you're right. I think they're both good people. You know, they may have different views. I mean,
Right.
no, but no one agrees on everything. So,
but as a former city councilor, I look at those two candidates and I say, you know what, I could work with either one of them.
right, collaborative personalities. Can you
Yeah.
work with people?
Can you
I mean,
work?
you don't have to agree with them on every single issue, but can you work with them?
Right. And we have another guest joining us, and one of the candidates for city councilor at large in the city of Fitchburg, Miranda Tozier Robbins. Thank you, Miranda.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good, good.
Right
Just
off the train, huh?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Full-time student?
Yes, yes.
What are you
sir.
studying?
Communications at Fitchburg State. I'm a full-time senior. I'm graduating this December.
Good for you.
So yeah, it's been a long road, and I'll actually feel like I've earned something. So.
Yeah. So what made you jump into the race for councilor at large? This is your first run for public
Yes.
office, right?
Yes, I mean, I've lived in Fitchburg since '98, you know, and just over the years, between the past 6 to 10 years, I've seen our city decline. I've seen programs slowly getting cut. People have been leaving our city. Things have just been deteriorating. And as the years were going on, I started to realize no help is coming. There's no help coming. And so, I mean, I kind of took the initiative upon myself. You know, if we want help, I'm going to have to go do it myself. So.
And how's the campaign been? What did you learn during the campaign?
Oh gosh, I mean, I've learned a lot. It's been a fun ride, you know, and I'd probably say the most important thing that I've learned out of all of this is just to be true to yourself. You know what I mean? I mean, people are always, I mean, tale as old as time. People are always going to have their opinions, but you just really just have to stay true to yourself, I would say.
And you got to participate in your first debate. We had all 8 candidates at the
Yes.
legislative building at Fitchburg City
it
Hall.
wasn't as scary as I thought it was. I mean, it was a little nerve-wracking, but it was like at the end of the day, it was pretty much everything that all 8 of us were already saying for like 9, 10 months or whatnot. It was a chance to reiterate ourselves. It was kind of a chance to meet each other and see kind of like what the thoughts are on everybody else and like how you fit into all of that. So coming out of the debates, like I kind of actually felt positive, you know, because I was able to see where I stood with everybody else and how we think about on policies.
As a communications major, what tools have you picked up in school that you bring to the equation if you're elected?
Oh man, I mean, well, I want all people, more people to like just get involved, period. And so you guys know that with television, I mean, it's a perfect medium to be able to, I don't know, go out and go into the other people's world and bring that to other people, I guess. It's basically just sharing people's worlds with other people. And the more that you do that, it turns into one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the more we're talking to each other, the more likely we can
Yes.
achieve some kind of progress. Right?
Yeah, progress, relationship, exactly. And like you said, if you learn about other people, you can bring all the, you know, like if you've never been to the mountains, if you've never been to the Alps, you watch somebody, you know, a film at the Alps, suddenly you've been there. So, same idea.
So this is your first time out running for public office.
Yes.
I'm sure you're hoping for the best tonight.
Yes.
And there's a lot to learn if you get there. If you don't get there for some reason, if you come up short tonight, what's next for Miranda? Are you staying involved in the city?
Well, I mean, I want to, you know, because I mean, I still want to help. I mean, if I don't win or anything, it's not over because it's like we still live here, so we still can make, you know what I mean, the positive progressions towards the goal that we want, you know.
Great. Miranda, thank you so much for coming in, stopping by on your way home tonight. Go get something to eat.
I
You've had a
will.
long day at school.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miranda.
Congratulations for
Thank
being
you, sir.
involved. Yeah,
Thank you.
good luck.
There were some other candidates out in the polling locations today that we were able to catch up with. One of them was Sally Cragen, who's a current school committee member who's running for city councilor at large, one of those 5 seats. Glenn Fossa was able to catch up with Sally Cragen, who was out there with our own state senator, John Cronin, today.
Dr.
And I read that wrong. I read Joe Cronin. I read John Cronin, but it's Joe Cronin, who's actually Senator Cronin's grandfather.
Correct.
That was out there with Sally Cragen today.
My former dentist years ago.
Mine too.
Yeah.
And then it was Dr. Balutis after
That's
that.
right. That's right.
Now I have Dr. Giannino. He's great, by the way, in Lunenburg.
Yeah.
Great. So we do have some more candidates for councilor at large. Alex was able to talk to another newcomer running for office in the city of Fitchburg in the at-large race, Muna Kankson. And we'll go to that clip out at the polling locations.
He's up to his own.
Muna Kankson, who was chief of staff of the mayor of Cambridge, provided quite the lively moment in the debate for councilor at large when there was some conflict of going on about the city hall budget between councilors Di Natale and Councilor Squire, and Mr. Kankson chimed in and accused Councilor Di Natale of, quote, mansplaining, with the mansplaining, and that
One of our latest lingos, right?
it is. It created quite the little hubbub there for about a minute or so. But you know, you need your entertaining moments.
Rather pejorative term, I guess, huh?
It is.
Yeah.
It got under his feathers a little bit, but
Yeah, well,
it happens. But
happens,
you know,
yeah.
it makes for good TV.
I see the glint in your eye, Kevin.
And speaking of Sam Squalia, Glenn Fossa was able to catch up with both Sam Squalia and Tom Hughes today. Let's go to his talk with Sam Squalia. So two more candidates, and for Councilor at Large, Councilor Squalia there, she's often been the lone voice in that field of council candidates, the lone vote against the City Hall project. Although she does vote a lot more in favor of the administration than probably is public perception, but she's certainly one who is looked at as an independent voice in the city.
Well, you always need someone out there.
Yeah. And Tom Hughes, who we just saw,
Yep.
appointed to fill the vacancy of Mike Kushmerek, now running for his own term on the city council in his own right to be elected.
Yeah. Well,
And we are only 10 minutes away from the polls closing.
it's getting exciting.
It is FATV coverage of election 2021. We welcome you from the Workers Credit Union studio here at FATV, and also welcome our viewers on LTV and our listeners on WLPZ 95.1 FM in Leominster, and also on the Armed Forces Network radio as far as Germany is carrying us tonight, so our troops overseas can be watching the results in their hometown, and we thank Sonny Levine and WLPZ for setting that up for us.
Wow, that's great.
So in Fitchburg we have a council race in the ward, the only ward council race, which is in Ward 6 between newcomers Derek Cruz and Olivia Tran. Councilor Beth Walsh announced that she would not seek re-election, and immediately, I think the same day she announced that she was not running, endorsed Mr. Cruz. He's also received the endorsement of the mayor, several city councilors, State Representative Kushmerek, and then you have Olivia Tran, who is the daughter of former State Senator Dean Tran, who is always one of, if not the top vote getter in Fitchburg, and has a very strong base. So you have two newcomers that both come with built-in bases.
Yeah, poses an interesting race.
Yeah, it's going to be one to watch, and you know, it's nice to see these young people being engaged and getting involved in politics. Again, you have two young newcomers getting involved in city politics, and there's so much else they could be doing, but instead they say, we're going to serve our community.
Well, that's a wonderful thing, because we needed that.
And the Flap TV's Glenn Fossa caught up with Olivia Tran at St. Bernard's Activity Center, the polling location for Ward 6 today, and we will go to that video of Glenn and Miss Tran. certainly going to be an interesting race to watch in Ward 6 tonight.
It is, yeah,
Two young newcomers getting into the political waters. Both of them with some good wind at their backs from the Tran organization and the Tran base on one side, and really the administration and its supporters on the other, which have had a lot of success locally. It's going to be an interesting race to watch, that one in Ward 6 and the one in Leominster in Ward 1. We are only about 3 minutes away until the polls close.
And with our electronic machines, we're going to know some things pretty quickly.
It's not like the good old days, is it, where we sat in city council chambers and they brought the ballot boxes in with all the ballots and the punch card ballots.
The hanging chads.
And they went into the back room and they fed them all through, and then we would wait for Audrey Johnson and then Connie Leone and then one after the city clerks to come out and report precinct by precinct, and we didn't know which one was coming.
Nancy Pimarini writing them on the door, on the wall.
On the big whiteboard, right? On the big whiteboard. Those, and we'd be there. I mean, we'd be burning the midnight oil waiting for results to come in.
Yeah.
Tonight, in just about 2 minutes, when polls close, we should see those results come in pretty quickly. I'm not sure they're going to have too much time to run up much of a bar tab down at Slattery's and down at the Slattery's where the DiNatale party is tonight.
Yeah.
The Columbia Tavern where Dean Mazzarella is tonight, and I think we're looking live now at Slattery's. That is the campaign headquarters for Mayor Stephen DiNatale, and I'm sure all of them are enjoying the incredible fried zucchini sticks down at Slattery's. To me, that's what they're known for. What's your favorite at Slattery's?
I actually agree with you. That's what I like best there. To tell you the truth.
No, they have the best zucchini sticks around, don't they?
Yeah.
So they can have zucchini sticks and wait for those results to come in. It shouldn't be long now. And I know several of the city council candidates will be joining the mayor at Slattery's, and I'm sure in Leominster you're going to have city council candidates and incumbent councilors probably at the Columbia Tavern with Mayor Mazzarella.
I would think so.
Ms. Freeman, Andrea Freeman, is going to be at her campaign headquarters on Whitney Street, where she's been running her base of operations out of. And I'm sure there'll be some of the local politicians there also.
I would think so.
So what do you thinking, Mark? We have 2 minutes, 1 minute until the polls close.
I think we've summed it up pretty well. I think it's not likely to be any surprises on the mayoral level, I don't think. One never knows, but if there was going to be a surprise, it'd have to be Leominster, not Fitchburg, I would think. But again, it's a tough battle to beat an incumbent, especially with these lower turnout numbers. But, I think the Freeman campaign is probably a campaign that was well organized and put in a lot of effort. So, you never know what could be a fruit.
Like you said, you'd never know.
No, you don't.
We had big surprises in Leominster in both 1993 and 2017.
Right.
Ironically enough, you and I were together both of those times. We've known each other we go way back, don't we?
Yeah,
we go way back. I remember when
do.
those results started coming in in 1993. We looked at each other and
we thought they had it flipped.
We thought they had we thought they had it that they had it backwards.
It was nothing short of revolution. It really wasn't.
All right. 3, 2, 1. The polls are now closed. The voting is over, and we wait for the results to come in. And our election coverage of the election of 2021 continues. Welcome back to our FATV coverage of election 2021. I'm Kevin Cormier, along with my friend and colleague Mark Bedanza, city councilor in Leominster, historian, and very successful author of a new book out this year.
Yeah, I got my latest is called Hostage Terror. It's a true story of hijacking back in 1985, Flight 847 TWA, told from the perspective of a local gentleman who was on the plane.
You're supposed to bring the book and put it up. Isn't that what all the politicians do when they go on talk shows? They push their book by putting.
It's all right.
You'll have book
That's
sign-
not. It's not the primary focus of this evening.
You'll have book signings down at Barnes & Noble again,
Oh
right?
yes, of course.
Am I
yeah.
in this book like I was the last one? I think I was in your last book like 4 times.
You were in my Leominster history book. Yes,
A few times.
You made some history in Leominster.
I'm
a
not in the
couple times.
hostage book, though?
No, you were a little young back in 1985, so you didn't make that one.
I was still in high school.
Yeah.
So we welcome our viewers on Leominster Television and also the listeners on WLPZ 95.1 FM in Leominster, and our soldiers overseas on the Armed Forces Radio Network who are listening in tonight, and those all over Facebook, Internet Land, Roku, Apple TV. We're everywhere tonight, Mark.
Well, that's a pretty impressive list.
And the results should be coming in shortly. I would say probably within the next 10 minutes we're going to start seeing results come in. We are covering both Leominster and Fitchburg tonight here from the Workers Credit Union studio at FATV. We have volunteers at every polling location getting those numbers to us as soon as they come out of the machine, getting them into us, and then we are going to get them directly to you. So we are going to have live real-time results once again.
It seems like forever when back in February when papers were able to be pulled for these offices, and here we are in November. It seems like a long time ago.
It does, and not too much of an active campaign season, really. I mean, we had all the debates. We provided 460 minutes of live debates here on FATV of all the contested races in Leominster and Fitchburg. But other than that, unless you're on Facebook and following these candidates, you'd never know by the local paper that there was even an election happening.
You know, it's funny, I had occasion to be, sifting some papers from about 5 or 6 years ago. Even as recently as that, there was a lot of local coverage. And then I went back for this evening and researched some of Mayor Mazzarella's campaigns back over the years, and it was astounding to me how much coverage there was in a local newspaper on campaigns, local campaigns.
It was.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It is. I mean, the Sentinel did one story on the Mazzarella-Freeman debate.
Right.
One story. They did not do any coverage at all on the Fitchburg mayoral debate, or on any of the city council debates, any of the school committee debates. They didn't do any candidate profiles like they usually do. I mean, it's one thing to not do debates like they used to, but now they don't even cover them.
I'm still a loyal subscriber, and I've been reading that paper since I could read. And I'm not sure I saw one campaign ad in the newspaper.
No, and that used to be the big thing back then.
Yeah, everybody.
Right? I remember
everybody
back when I was on the council, and even when I ran for mayor, of course, we didn't have the computers to do it like we do now. We'd be there clipping pictures out and typeset and pasting them to a board and sending and bringing it down to the Sentinel office.
I remember writing a whole, a full-page ad for the Mahan campaign against Hopper in 1991, and boy, those days are gone.
They really are. I'm not to knock this.
No,
print media's unfortunately is on the ropes. They really are, and unfortunately, that really has created a news desert in our area where we're not getting any local coverage, save for the FATV debates.
I think at their height, their subscriber base was 24,000, and I think today it's under 4,500.
Yeah.
So, it's changed dramatically, and I don't know what their online subscription rate is, but their print subscription is about 4,400.
So now they come to us for their live election results, interviews, and analysis.
Yes.
We had our first hour. We had some great clips out in the field at polling locations today with Glenn Fossa, who's the retired executive director of FATV and now joining us on Flap TV. And we do have some plans after the new year to really try to fill the void of that news desert we have out there that we need to get.
Yeah.
We need to get information out, because the problem is, Mark, is that without having a press, a media, journalism, actual journalists who go and verify information and try to get to the truth, just any Yahoo on the internet can post something on Facebook and then it just goes viral, and they make it up. And there's so much just disinformation on the local, state, and federal level these days. It's troubling.
It's true. It is troubling, and hopefully, I'm not the guy that rah-rahs regulation, but I think Congress needs to act. It's an area where there does need to be some regulation.
It does.
Social media. I was involved in ghostwriting a book for a guy who was an early social media campaigner for NFL players. And it was fascinating, about 15 years ago to learn about how he was able to create brand for some of these guys and change the dynamic.
Yeah.
And
there are and just to put it out there too, we do have a news desert out there, but we also do have some very hardworking people and local outlets that are still out there. The Leominster Champion, those folks over there do a great job.
Yep.
They did cover all the debates in Leominster. You have the new morning team over at WPKZ, Sean Sweeney,
Right.
And they had candidate interviews all last week and the week before, I believe, interviewing all the local candidates, and they do a great job also.
Hey, look, even the Sentinel, I mean, you can't, knock them completely. They're, Cliff Clark over there is working without a lot of resources.
Right, they don't have anything to work
virtually
with.
no resources, and they're doing I think they're doing a yeoman work to be able to put out the paper that they put out with what they're working with. So, it's kind of sad to see what's come of it, but they're doing a good job. They're doing everything they can do.
Very good. So I believe, speaking of Glenn Fossa, I believe he is live at Di Natale campaign party down at Slattery's. Do we have Glenn?
Kevin, FLAP is all active right here at Slattery's, where anybody and everybody who's political is here awaiting results. Of course, we've got the mayor and a couple of others lined up. And with me, of course, co-anchor, co-street reporter, Alex Vera.
Hey, Kevin. Hey, Mark. Today it was super exciting going out doing the interviews, and there's a lot of excitement, a lot of energy out there right now, and there's a room full of people here that they cannot wait to see what the results are. I mean, it's just a room full of energy right now.
You want to stay with us right here on the FLAP coverage, as we'll also have some numbers from Leominster and potential insight into that election over there. Kevin and Mark, thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Alex. They did a great job out there in the
They
field
certainly
today,
did.
going to polling locations in Fitchburg and Leominster, talking to voters, talking to candidates, really getting a feel for the day out there.
That's great. They do a wonderful job.
They do, and they'll report back to us at that headquarters, and then try to boogie on over and try to get to as many parties as they can tonight.
This is like the gradual jury verdict. You don't get it all at once, but you get little pieces of it, right? And sometimes the little pieces are very illuminative, and sometimes not so much.
Let me ask you a question. Why do we have this system that everything's a secret until the polls close? Why isn't it like a football game where you watch it and there's a running score going? Right? We have the running tally all day, and that way you know who needs to get voters out to where and bring it right to the shot clock.
It's like the judge tells the jury before a trial, don't form any opinions till you've heard all the evidence. So I mean, you don't want people in the public being influenced by early tallies in the vote. I mean, I just think it would be a chaos.
I think it would be fun. It would make for fun TV. You just don't want to be here from 8 in the morning till 8 at night with running tallies all day, right?
I don't know. It would be crazy to listen to. It's like a box score. I mean, no, I'm not for that.
All right, so we have some of our first results coming in from Leominster.
Exciting.
So this will give us some insight. In Ward 5A, Dean Mazzarella, 311 votes. Andrea Freeman, 91 votes. So Mayor Mazzarella by a 3-to-1 margin, and that's only one of 10 precincts coming in, but that's a pretty decisive margin right there.
I think Ward 3 and Ward 5 were the wards where Andrea Freeman was going to have to do well.
Mm-hmm.
Ward 4, my ward, is very votes heavy and votes pretty conservative. If you'll remember last year, Frank Ardinger, our incumbent councilor at large, ran against Natalie Higgins in the state reps race. And of all the Leominster precincts, I think he did best in the ones in 4. I mean, he got beat handily, but in 4, it was different. So I think that's a ward where it would be tough for Andrea Freeman to compete with Mayor Mazzarella.
But right out of the gate, to have a 3-to-1 victory in one precinct, again, way too early to call anything.
Of course.
But that's a pretty substantial margin.
It is.
In one precinct.
And you got to make it up someplace. Like I said, I really would suspect it's not going to be 4.
Right.
And 4 is going to have the highest turnout. So you turn to 3 and 5, I think, is where you go with this.
Yeah. Also, we know it's going to be probably a close race in that school committee race. We have 4 people competing for 3 seats on the school committee.
Right.
And it is turning out to be a close race.
That's the one that could be the closest.
Sal Perla leading with 191 votes in Ward 5A, followed by Brandon Robbins at 187 votes, Melissa Bible at 174, and then Sue Kohler at 173.
Wow.
So,
What was Perla's? 195?
Perla was 191.
No, 191.
191,
Wow, is that
187,
close?
174, 173. So very close.
That's one you're going to have to watch to the end.
Yes. Definitely. Jump over to Fitchburg here, see if we have anything in Fitchburg yet. We do have some Fitchburg results coming in. All right, let's go to the Fitchburg. We have some Fitchburg results. Ward 6A. Stephen DiNatale, 298. Andrew Cordio, 142. And then in the city council race, a pretty close race with Derek Cruz and Olivia Tran in Ward 6A, with Derek Cruz at 248 and Olivia Tran at 220. So only a 28 vote difference with 1 out of the 2 precincts in.
Yeah, and there's only 2 precincts, right, in Fitchburg?
There's only
Yeah.
2 precincts in Fitchburg. For the councilor at large race, again, they're all pretty well in there with each other. And Ward 6A, it looks like Sam Squalia is leading the pack at 288 votes. Second would be Anthony Zarella at 279. Third would be Amy Green at 265. Coming in fourth, Marcus DiNatale at 262. And then it would be Sally Cragen at 230. And those would be the top 5. There are 5 seats available for councilor at large. Again, this is only 1 precinct.
Right.
And then that is followed by Tom Hughes at 205, and then Muna Kankson and Miranda Tozier Robbins coming in at 74 and 89 respectively. So it's, again, it looks like, again, not as decisive of a victory in the mayor race in this 1 precinct as it was in Leominster even. So that may be a little bit of a surprise. We thought it was going to be, we thought that Fitchburg would, that Leominster was going to be the
Right, but it could
more
be an
contested.
outlier in
It
both
could.
cases. So
It
we
could.
don't- we
In
don't
Ward
know.
4A, we have 4A coming in Fitchburg. Steve DiNatale, 118 votes. Andrew Cordio, 43 votes. So again, you do have more than a 2-to-1 margin there.
Right.
In the councilor at large race, Sam Squalia, top vote getter in the 2nd precinct this evening, to come in at 109. And second place is tied between Marcus DiNatale and Amy Green at 96 votes apiece. Anthony Zarella at 93, and Sally Cragen at 83. And then in the 6th place is Tom Hughes at 72 votes. And then Miranda Tozier Robbins, 31 votes. Muna Kankson, 29 votes. So, so that's what we have in Fitchburg right now. So it looks like, I don't think much of a surprise.
Well,
that
kind of a live race for the last slot.
it is,
Yeah.
but not much of a surprise in the mayor's race. It looks like it's
No.
pretty,
No, it's holding up.
yeah. And all 3 precincts are in for, how do I get ward total here? Okay, so all 3 precincts are in Ward 5. So let's go Ward 5B, Dean Mazzarella 402, Andrea Freeman 170. Ward 5C, Dean Mazzarella 202 votes, and Andrea Freeman 79 votes.
All right, I'm
Again.
sorry, I missed the first one, Kevin. What was the one before 5C you announced?
5B,
Yeah,
Dean Mazzarella 402,
yeah.
and Andrea Freeman 170. So, and in the In the school committee race, it looks like in Ward 5B, Sue Kohler came out on top at 270. Sal Perla at 269. Brandon Robbins at 267. And Melissa Bible at 221.
And that's Cola's home. Is that her home precinct? It might be.
It might be.
Yeah.
All right, so if we add in 5A, 5C, 5B, 5C totals, the totals for the ward is Dean Mazzarella 915, Andrea Freeman 340. Dean Mazzarella in Ward 5 with all precincts reporting 72% of the vote. Andrea Freeman 26.8% of the vote. In the school committee at large race, it is the top so far is Sal Perla at 586, and then Brandon Robbins at 572. Sue Kohler at 566, and Melissa Bible at 518. Again, very close race. It's only one ward, so
Yeah, it's a long ways to go there.
long ways to go there. But I think that looking at Ward 5 in that mayor's race is, you know, we're not going to call it with just one ward in, but I think
No.
if you're at Dean Mazzarella campaign headquarters
You got to feel good about
at
it.
Columbia, you
Yeah.
definitely feel good about
Yeah.
what's going on there
Yeah.
in Leominster. If we go to Fitchburg, Ward 1A is in, and Steve DiNatale, 151. Andrew Cordio, 49. So we do have Ward 1A in, we have Ward 4A in, we have all of Ward 5 in Fitchburg, and the total of Ward 5 in Fitchburg is Steve DiNatale at 408 and Andrew Cordio at 167.
So that's a good chunk of the city. So that's looking pretty insurmountable right now.
Yeah. And if we look at the councilor at large race, again, that's a pretty close one. If we look at Ward 5, the totals in Ward 5 at the city councilor at large race, Sam Squalia carried Ward 5, number one vote getter at 386. Coming in second was Marcus DiNatale at 377. Amy Green at 366. Anthony Zarella at 349. And Tom Hughes and Sally Cragen tied at 311 for Ward 5.
Wow. So that's a tight one.
It's a very
That
tight
last
one. And
slot's gonna be tight.
I think that's what we were talking about
Right.
earlier, is looking at that fifth slot where you have Tom Hughes, who's an incumbent,
Right.
but who was appointed, who hasn't run on his own yet, and have Sally Cragen, who's not an incumbent, but you know, is an elected school committee member and has been on the school committee member for quite some time.
And very popular, well-known Fitchburg resident, and engaged in a lot of local theater and other historical pursuits. Very well-known person.
Yep. So those numbers are starting to roll in now. The totals in Ward 1 with Ward 1A and 1B reporting in Fitchburg is Steve DiNatale, 151, Andrew Cordio, 49. So we do have all of Ward 1, all of Ward 5. We have one precinct in Ward 6, and we have Ward 4A in Fitchburg.
Right.
All of them are showing Steve DiNatale over 60% of the vote, all showing a very close race in the council at large race. So we do have a projection to make right now.
Yeah, you have half of the cities in
And
Fitchburg.
FATV is ready to project that Steve DiNatale is the winner of the mayoral race in Fitchburg, being reelected by a decisive margin tonight. Again, Stephen DiNatale reelected as mayor of the city of Fitchburg. And a decisive victory for Mayor DiNatale.
Not a terrible surprise, that's for sure.
No.
Congratulations to DiNatale, Steve DiNatale, and congratulations to Cordio, who, you know, ran a race.
He did run a race, and you know, when we had the debate here on October 28th, And, Mayor Di Natale came in with confidence. He had a lot of facts. He has a lot of knowledge, obviously, based on his experience. He was a
Right.
former school committee member, city council, state representative, mayor. And that can be somewhat intimidating
Yeah.
to any challenger.
Sure.
But let's give Andrew Cordio credit. He stood up for what he believed in. He didn't get in. He wasn't knocked off of his game. You can
Right.
disagree with the messages of each candidate. You can even
Right.
disagree whether or not either of them had all of their facts straight. But what you can't deny is that Andrew Cordio held his own. He stood up for what he believed in, and that's really what in a mostly respectful way.
Yeah.
From both sides, and that's what it's really
Well,
all
it's
about.
look at it, it's a value to the community, right? I mean, it keeps the incumbent mayor sharp and on his toes, and there's nothing wrong with that. And congratulations to anybody who takes the time and effort to put their name out there. It takes a lot of courage to do it.
It does, and as we see up on the screen right now, Steve Di Natale with about 67% of the vote, with about half the precincts in.
Half the precincts have reported.
Half the precincts are reporting. All of Ward 2 is in for Leominster, the city of Leominster. And for some reason the totals aren't showing up. The individuals are showing up, but the totals aren't. Ward 2 in Leominster. I don't know if we could get those. Look at the monitor. Okay, so with 3 of the 15 precincts in, Dean Mazzarella with 72% of the vote. Andrea Freeman with 26.8% of the vote. And again, this is with 3 precincts reporting 3, but I have 6 on the, I have 6 precincts on the screen here. I have all of Ward 2 and all of Ward 5 in.
Yeah, that looks like if those are the raw totals,
Okay.
915, 340, looks like all of 2.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll just go through. We don't have the Ward 2 numbers up, but we'll go through those real quickly. Dean Mazzarella in Ward 2A, 209 to Freeman's 58. In Ward 2B, 282 to 99. And in Ward 2C, 163 to 46. So we have all of Ward 2, all of Ward 5 are in, and both of them are showing a pretty substantial and decisive win in those wards.
That must be the rolling total then, right? 915.
That's the rolling total, but it says
Yeah.
3 of 15 precincts. But
Right.
I'm actually looking at 6 precincts on the sheet here. I think they just need to.
All of 5, all of 2, right?
Okay, yeah, that's because they're continuing to type in the some of the council and school committee races, and as soon as we do that, they'll be able to get those total numbers on screen. Okay, and then we have in Ward 2. Okay, we have the totals up in Ward 2 now. So totals of Ward 2, Mazzarella 654, Freeman 203. In the school committee at-large race in Leominster, in Ward 2, Melissa Bible, Sal Perla, 434. Then second is Melissa Bible at 392. Coming in third, Brandon Robbins at 371. And in fourth place is Sue Kohler at 309.
And that's Melissa's home ward, right?
That is Melissa's home ward, but Sal Perla seems to be doing very well tonight, winning both. Did he come in Ward 5 also? I think he did.
I think he did too.
He came in with 586 votes in Ward 5. I mean, not huge. I mean, Sue
Right.
Kohler came in second at 566, even though
Right.
she came in fourth in Ward 2.
Right.
So this is still a very fluid race.
Right.
In terms of the school committee at-large race in the city of Leominster.
Right.
And I don't know, are we getting Glenn up at Di Natale headquarters now that we've called that race? Is he able to get a live shot in of some of those, maybe the mayor and some of those candidates that are there? And we're going to be standing by for Glenn Fossa, who's going to be
With a jubilant
I would think
Steve
it's going to
DiNatale.
be celebratory zucchini sticks.
I would think so.
Whatever it is
Yeah,
down there.
yeah.
Again, I don't think it's much of a surprise, but
No,
it still
but-
feels good, doesn't it? It still feels good to win to not only win, but win a decisive victory. It gives.
Even when you're unopposed, it feels good.
It does. Well, it's because what it is, it's a mandate.
Yeah.
And when you get it, when you get a victory like this, it's really a mandate, and it's every employee wants a good review from their boss.
Of course.
And tonight, Mayor Stephen DiNatale got a great review from his bosses, which are the voters.
He did. After all, this is politics. You don't get all the votes.
You don't get all of them. No,
No.
you're not gonna. As much as people would like to get all of them, I think that only happened. I think that only happens in North Korea. I don't think it happens.
Yeah, for other reasons.
Although you've never had an opponent.
I haven't.
You've
but,
never had an
I
opponent.
still don't get all the votes, Kevin.
You don't.
There's still Mr. Blank out there.
Well, they have to keep the head from getting too big.
That's right. Well, I mean,
So we
I
are still
understand.
waiting for the contested race in Ward 6 in Fitchburg. We're still waiting for Ward 6B to come in. Right now, Derek Cruz has a 20-vote lead over Olivia Tran, but again, we're still waiting for that to come in. For those that's joining us, this is FATV coverage of election 2021. Live from the Workers Credit Union studio at FATV, and live at campaign headquarters around the Twin Cities with Glenn Fossa and Alex Vera. We welcome our viewers from LATV, and also welcome our listeners on WLPZ 95.1 FM and the Armed Forces Radio Network over in Germany, listening to our overseas soldiers, listening to the results coming in from their hometown tonight.
and let's thank them for their service.
Thank
for
you.
Sure.
Veterans Day is not far away. November
No,
11th, I believe.
Next week.
Next week is Veterans Day.
Next Thursday. A week from Thursday.
It is. So we're still waiting for Glenn Fossa, get that live shot up at Slattery's. Anxious to hear from the mayor and see from Mayor DiNatale and some of the city councilors I know that are there this evening celebrating with him. Okay, so Glenn Fossa, we understand, is with Mayor DiNatale live at the DiNatale campaign headquarters at Slattery. So we're going to go to Glenn Fossa.
Fitchburg, Leominster, all politics, of course. Kevin and Mark with me. Fitchburg Access Television determining the victor, Stephen DiNatale, for yet another term. Steve, this is exciting, and there's so much work ahead.
Thank you, Glenn. And actually, my thanks to FATV and certainly to the voters of Fitchburg for another vote of confidence in me and what my administration and the people working with me have put together and what we're going to continue to work toward, which is improving the lives of all the people of the city of Fitchburg. So I want to thank the voters for giving me the opportunity to keep us going in the direction that they seem to think, and we certainly believe, is the right course of action.
You know, you've built a team over time. Certainly, whether it's a corporation or a municipality, this doesn't happen overnight. You've got to be proud of the team you've assembled and the work that you've done.
Yes, absolutely. When I became mayor that first year, my goal, my focus, my target was economic development. And I think we've really reached that. And it's because of people like Tom Skorosky, Police Chief Ernie Martineau, Fire Chief right now, Dante Suarez. It was Kevin Roy through most of those years. I mean, it really is a team concept. It doesn't happen alone. It's not something that you can do solely. But being the manager and trying to orchestrate everything, that's where the challenge is. But again, it's much less complicated when you've got people that know what they're doing, and that's what I do. I rely on the experts and the people that are that know the best. So it's a lead, follow, or gently get out of the way.
I'm not entirely sure everybody knows the time and the effort that has to go into running a city. I know that Alex is going to speak with some other victors tonight and predicted victors, but just tell us maybe what the voters can do to help you succeed in 2022 and ahead.
What the voters can do is just continue to provide me with the confidence that they have in this administration. And please know that what we're doing is going to benefit you. And some of those changes have already happened to benefit them. And we're going to continue in that direction. And I asked them one thing as well, be patient.
Well, certainly a decisive win here now for Mayor DiNatale against Andrew Cordio. Very, very thrilled. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for being on. We've got some other coverage tonight on Fitchburg, Leominster All Politics, along with Kevin Cormier and Mark Bedanzer, of course. Alex is coming up with City Councilor Andrew Kuchar as we step away.
Hey everyone, I have with me Councilor Andrew Kuchar here. Now Andrew, as we had discussed earlier, you didn't have any opponents this race, but I'm pretty sure, you're excited to see at least that the numbers coming in.
At 78% of the vote, I mean, you didn't have to put in the vote for me. I'm very appreciative of those votes that did come in for me. Well over 3/4 of the ward think I'm doing a good job. And there were a few write-ins and there were a few blanks, but I really think the real focus of this was the mayoral race as well as the at-large race. We're still waiting on the numbers for the at-large race, but I'm really excited to see who are going to be my fellow councilors as well as mayor upcoming. So I'm really excited to see this.
Absolutely, and you mentioned briefly, the write-ins and the blanks. So, what do you have to say to those people? Maybe that don't know you, and maybe perhaps they left it blank because of that, or just what do you have to say to them?
I mean, I'm always reachable. You call me. I mean, I'm terrible with my email, and I'll be the first one to say that. I'm terrible with my email, but call me. My cell phone number, it's on the website. I'll give it to you whenever. Just look on the city website. I'm fully accessible. Come see me. If there's something wrong with your ward, let me in your area of the ward. Let me know. I will do what I can to help you out. Sometimes there's nothing that the city can do because it's on private property, or maybe it's a Unitel problem, or maybe it's a Comcast problem. But I will reach out to those companies and try to fix the problem that you're having.
That sounds great. Sounds like you're doing your best to actually be reachable and be accessible to the constituents. So that is great to hear. Just real quick, what are some projects that may be upcoming that are exciting to you right now?
Well, I'm going to restart the ward meetings. I'm going to restart that. Starting now that COVID is thankfully coming to winding down. Really excited for that. So I'm going to concentrate on getting the ward meetings back. I also have some projects like I'd like to see the expansion every Labor Day. A lot of people who are not Ward 3 residents might not know about West Fitchburg Days. It's on Labor Day. We have a road race. Back in the day, they used to have concerts. It used to be a really big project where we have artists coming, and we have that gazebo out in West Fitchburg. Let's utilize it, Let's really expand and see what we can do and really turn it into the block party that it should be, not just a road race.
Well, it sounds like you have some great ideas, Andrew. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, and good luck in the future. So I believe we have Glenn Foster right now. He's going to be interviewing Amy Green. Thank you.
As we shuffle around a little bit, Mark and Kevin, Amy Green with me, of course. Amy, looks like a pretty decisive decision by voters right now. Fitchburg Access Television, of course, and Flap TV welcomes you. Tell us a little bit about what to expect in 2022.
Well, I think expect the same old stuff that you've gotten from me for the past 8 years, which is reliability, respect, and fiscal conservatism.
Well, it's good to have a business background, management experience, and of course a people person like yourself. Tell us a little bit about what changes you may make in your leadership or objectives for 2022 and ahead.
I think working cohesively with my colleagues is important, especially if we want to continue to move Fitchburg forward. We've all got to get on the same page about being open for business and what that actually means for not only our downtown but our surrounding areas as well.
As Fitchburg Leominster area politics continues, this coverage here live at DiNatale headquarters with a bunch of other folks and our co-host, of course, Alex Vera. We're going to toss it back to the studio and we'll be with you in just a minute.
Thank you very much, Glenn and Alex, doing a great job down at DiNatale Campaign Headquarters at Slattery's. Congratulations to Mayor DiNatale. Congratulations to all of the candidates who put their name on the ballot. Even if they come up short tonight, they put their name on the ballot, and that is what counts. Also, looking at the running total for City Councilor at large, it looks like we have a little bit of a barn burner for first place. Right now, Samantha Squalia with 1,750 votes, and Marcus DiNatale with 742 votes, only 8 votes separating the two of them. And then we have Anthony Zarella, Amy Green, and it looks like Sally Cragen round out the top 5. Tom Hughes not far behind. Sally Cragen with 1,450 votes. Thomas Hughes with 1,354. So less than 100 votes separating the two.
That's the issue.
That 5th seat.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, given the dynamics between Marcus and Sam, that first place finish is going to have some bragging rights to it. You know, both of them really want to have.
Well, sure.
Want to have that first place, but really,
who doesn't?
Realistically, it really doesn't mean anything. You're one of 5, whether you come in first or whether you come in 5th.
Especially with it'll be thin in all likelihood, so it's not going to be a significant number.
The race is really going to be for that 5th seat. On the City Council race.
That's an interesting one.
It is. So, any thoughts any final thoughts on the DiNatale Cordio race?
No, I think as we said earlier, it sort of went as expected, and give credit to Andrew Cordio for putting his name out there and giving people an option and a choice, and like I said before, keeping the mayor sharp. Steve ran a good campaign, and as he said, he's accomplished things over a period of time.
And hold that thought, we're going to make a projection here. The winner of the Fitchburg Ward 6 City Council is going to be Derek Cruz, pulling out a win tonight over challenger Olivia Tran. A close race, 390 to 354 votes. So beating Olivia Tran by about 5 percentage points, 51 to 46%.
That is a close one.
It is a close one.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Derek Cruz. You had, you had 2 young first-time candidates. I don't think it's actually a little bit closer than I was expecting it to be, but
it's a great showing. I mean, it's one race. I mean, they're both young. I mean, there may be another office try in the future for Olivia Tran, either the same office or a different office. Who knows? You never can predict what the journey is going to be.
You can't. And she had, her father, former Senator Dean Tran, had a very big following.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what are your thoughts on that, on legacy candidates? It can sometimes be a benefit, but it can sometimes be a curse.
Sure, it's a double-edged sword. I think generally speaking, it's a benefit, but there are times when it's not a benefit. Mm-hmm. It certainly adds to the name recognition right off the bat, which is never harmful.
Right.
But you got to run on your own trust and likability at the end. And I think probably both pretty likable candidates, and the results show it. So congratulations to Derek. And
and I think a lot of it, what it came down to is, both of them, from what I heard from voters that talked to me, and they talk to me because I moderate the debates, like I have some insight more than they do. I really don't.
Right.
The insight, I'm just asking the questions, right? But they ask me and they tell me what their concerns are. And the concerns that I heard about Derek Cruz, whether it's true or not, this is what their concerns were, was, is he going to be an independent voice? Was he handpicked by by those who are already in power, and is he going to be an independent voice? The concerns I heard about Olivia Tran is she really going to have the time, being not only a college student living full-time in Boston, but a freshman at Suffolk? Does she really have the time? And I think what probably made the difference here is when Derek Cruz showed up at the debate, he was strong, he was forceful, he was very confident in his answers, and I think he may have alleviated some of those concerns.
It very well could have made the difference.
It
you
did.
know?
And Olivia Tran did not show up at the debate. I know
Right.
she had issues going on. It had already been rescheduled once at her request, and then second time, you know, she had something going on at school, and again, no knock against her whatsoever.
No. I
But-
understood. I mean,
but when that camera comes on and Derek Crews is there with an empty podium, that narrative right there of whether or not someone can have that balance in their work and life and politics kind of encapsulates that and really solidifies
yeah, you
the
can
narrative.
it's hard to dissect that stuff and know how much it counted, but it certainly couldn't have helped.
No, definitely not. It's not like 20, 30 years ago where we have 3 or 4 debates. And
Right.
remember when the Sentinel had a debate, the League of Women Voters had the debates,
Sure do.
FSU had debates,
Yep.
and then you had like the Spanish American Center and
Live
the Senior Citizen
audiences
Center.
and-
They
yep.
all had their forums. That didn't happen this election. There was
No.
one debate and that's it. And to not be there for that one debate, I think if she was at that debate looking at these results, they very well could be different tonight. But
We'll never know.
in
but,
a very divided country, Mark,
Yeah.
where no one agrees on anything, you get in a fight if you talk about whether you like KFC or Chick-fil-A, right? It turns into a political argument.
Not me.
The one thing, we're going up for Chinese food later. Who you kidding? So the one thing that everyone agrees on,
Yeah.
both sides, is they love political debates.
Yeah.
They love debates. The left and the right love debates.
I think that's true.
So, okay. So taking a quick look, let's just go back. So congratulations to Derek Crews and congratulations to Olivia Tran. One final word on Olivia Tran also is full-time student, freshman, Suffolk University, so much on her plate. What's in her mind? Serving her community. That's not only admirable, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
We need to give a big round of applause to Olivia Tran and Derek Crews in a world where so much is going on and there are so many challenges for the young generation. For them to step up and say, you know what, I want to spend my days and nights serving my community, we need more of that.
Yeah.
Congratulations to both.
It's admirable, no question about it.
So get this one. In the Councilor at Large race, Sam Squalia, the running total, 2307. Marcus, 2306. One vote separating Marcus and Sam. Going down to that 5th spot, there's a little bit more daylight with Sally Cragen and Tom Hughes, with Sally Cragen at 1916 and Tom Hughes at 1773. So we're getting a little bit more daylight that may be coming into focus with those votes. But again, 1 vote difference between Marcus, Di Natale, and Sam Squalia, and you know that Facebook land is a flutter with that going on right now.
Well, long ways to go there. Who knows what'll happen.
It is. But in the meantime, why don't we go back to Glenn Fossa at Di Natale headquarters? I understand he has both Marcus Di Natale and City Council President Anthony Zarella with him to talk about the results as they roll in tonight.
Kevin and Mark, you know, you mentioned it. 2 young folks like Derek Crews and Olivia Tran coming neck and neck means politics is alive and well in Fitchburg. One of the younger members of the City Council, proud to call him my neighbor and friend, Anthony Zarella. Anthony, great to see you today. We had a great showing. Mark, a brother attorney, of course. And yeah, I mean, you've just done it again.
Well, thank you. I'm thrilled. I love being on the council. I'm glad to have another term to serve. And honestly, I congratulate everyone, especially those who won, but really everyone who ran. They still put themselves out there, which is not an easy thing to do, and we need civic participation. You know, we saw a very low turnout, unfortunately, and I think people really need to know that these are the elections that affect how you live your life day to day. You know, I applaud everyone who participated, and if you have thoughts about how your city should run in the next 2 years, contact us. Contact the people who are on the council. But then 2 years from now, get out there and vote.
All important vote, and of course, Kevin and Mark, you referred to the numbers, and of course, Anthony, you just referred to low numbers of voting, but definitely quality, not quantity, shown in the closeness of this race. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. I think that, you know, there were several candidates who I would not have been comfortable placing bets for or against until it was all said and done. Myself included. You know, I don't like to get cocky. I felt good going in, but I was not counting anything out until everything was done. Yeah, I think that it shows that you really got to put the work in. If you want to serve the city, the work starts before inauguration, and this could have gone a different way if any candidate had put a little more or a little less work into their campaign. And again, I include myself in that. You know, I came in a lower position than I did last year, and I put in less time campaigning than I did last time around. I tell myself, okay, well, I had a new daughter, but still, it was my choice to make, and that makes a difference. You gotta pound the pavement, knock the doors, do the work, and just grind it out. That's what it sometimes comes down to. And that's what the job itself comes down to sometimes, is the 15th thing that someone contacts you about in a single week. Just gotta keep plugging away at it, because no one's problem is small enough to just write off or say, you know, I don't have time to deal with this.
Anthony, you're council president, and of course, you're going to move into the 2022 year. Any pet projects or ideas ahead for you individually?
Well, honestly, I actually just was thinking today that one thing I would love to see happen before the next elections, before the state elections coming up this coming year, is for city officials or elected officials in the city of Fitchburg to pool resources and volunteers and efforts for a massive get out the vote drive. Registration, voting, get people to the polls, irrespective of encouraging anyone to vote for this person or that person. I've been saying since I first started running, just go vote. Even if you think I'm horrible and you want to vote me out, get to the polls and tell me that you want me out. Because if we keep getting low, if we keep notching down lower and lower and lower turnout with each municipal election, eventually we're going to be in exactly the situation that some of the cynics think we're in, where a handful of people are deciding every election. The reason that will happen will not be because of any kind of collusion or any backroom deals. It'll be because no one else is getting out and voting. You can't make your voice heard by sitting at home and typing on your keyboard. That's not how you participate in civic life.
Thank you so much, Council President Anthony Zarella. And I want to do a special shout out now to our FATV crew, of course, Nate Glennie, Executive Director, Travis Falk and the tech side of the house, and all the folks that make this happen inside and outside FATV, of course, using the live shot. And I've got Alex Vera coming up with City Councilor elect again, Marcus DiNatale, still at the computer screen. Here he comes. So Mark and Kevin, Marcus DiNatale coming here with Alex Vera. We're going to hand it off.
It's a very exciting time today. We're here at Slattery's. I'm here with Councilor Marcus DiNatale, one of the top vote getters in Fitchburg. Now, how do you feel?
I feel great. I want to thank the voters of Fitchburg for restoring me back to the City Council, and I'm hoping to continue my good work with constituent services for the next 2 years. And congratulations to the other victors as well.
Awesome. And now, ahead of these next couple of years, are there any exciting projects that you're looking forward to working on?
I'm looking forward to the continuation of downtown's revitalization and economic development, and that's primarily what is at the forefront right now with what's going on in the city. So A lot of positive developments are taking place, and in the next 2 years, I hope to see that come through even more. So.
Awesome. And just one last thing, is there anything you'd like to say maybe to those people that may not know you very well and maybe, left that ballot blank?
Well, I've been in this for about 16 years. It'll be 18 now after this next term, and 2 years in the school committee, 14 on the city council, so soon to be 16 on the city council. So I've been a lifelong resident and just working hard every day to do what I can to serve as a bridge between the resident and local government. And so if anyone needs to contact me, my Facebook page is Marcus DiNatale, Marcus Lewis DiNatale, or City Councilor Marcus DiNatale.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for being here with us, Marcus, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
School committee.
It's been an incredible election cycle, great showing and a great numbers. Quantity, not so much, but quality. Look at how close those numbers really were.
Right, absolutely. And you know what? I think it's just a testament to, the amount of care and support that the city of Fitchburg, the constituents, and the residents have. They want to see a change, and I think that it's important. It really shows in the numbers. I mean, I think sometimes, people get a little complacent, so maybe that's why some people didn't come out to vote today. But, we have a lot of good things going on right now, and, I'm very excited to see where the city goes from here.
For all of the folks at Fitchburg Access Television, the volunteers and all the folks in the crew, and Bisbee, of course, back in the office, and our good cameraman as well, Kevin, we're going to hand it back to the studio with Kevin Cormier and Mark Bedanza. Good night, voters.
Thank you very much, Glenn and Alex. Excellent job reporting not only in our live shots tonight at candidate headquarters, but also throughout the day doing those interviews at the polling locations. We do have final numbers in from the city of Fitchburg, where Mayor Stephen DiNatale, 2,553 votes to Andrew Cordio's 1,026 votes. Mayor Stephen DiNatale reelected with 65% of the vote. With 100% of the votes counted in the city council at-large race, first place finisher Sam Squalia with 2,307 votes. Marcus DiNatale, 2,306 votes. A 1-vote difference in the top vote getter between Sam and Marcus. Amy Green coming in second at 2,256. Anthony Zarella at 2,145. And the fifth seat on the city council will go to Sally Cragen with 1,916 votes. Incumbent Councilor Tom Hughes will not be returning to the city council next year, pulling in 1,773 votes. Coming in 7th was Miranda Tozier Robbins at 638, and coming in 8th place was Muna Kangson at 607. And welcome to Michael Delamonica, my co-host of Flap TV.
Well, it's great to be here. I'll tell you, looking at the results, seeing some of the Leominster Ward results, some of the school committee races trickling in, I have 3 observations really on the evening. I think, first of all, you're seeing traditional campaigning methods maybe not the way to go anymore. You're seeing some of these virtual campaign methods, some of the Facebook, some of the social media, some of that virtual outreach really did the trick for, especially look at some of these Leominster races, these school committee candidates. You may have a sweep of these new guys that came in, and the final results aren't in yet, but you may have a sweep of those folks. That's the first observation. Second observation, I think if you're conservative, you're very excited. Good night for conservatives. You had Olivia Tran pulled papers at the last minute, ran against Derek Cruz. Derek Cruz was heavily favored, conventional wisdom speaking, in that race, but ended up being a very close race. I think the Dean Tran name really did her some good. I think some of these results you're seeing, Dean Mazzarella's convincing victory, it appears. Really, if you're conservative, you're happy with these results.
Currently at 72% of the vote for Mayor Mazzarella.
And thirdly, I'll tell you, speaking of Mayor Mazzarella, we haven't talked too much about Leominster, but Mayor Mazzarella, for someone close to 30 years in office, he has really been effective at painting himself as the perpetual outsider, despite being in office for close to 30 years. He may have difficulty painting that picture now. he will have a school committee and a city council possibly more friendly to him than has been in years.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of change, it looks like, on the school committee. The city council, not so much. I mean, there'll be change on the city council. If Brady holds up, obviously, there's going to be a new Ward 1 councilor either way. And it looks like Todd Deacon gets into the mix, obviously, because he was unopposed.
Unopposed.
So there's going to be 2 new councilors. Yeah, but I think
Okay, if you can hold that thought, we do have a projection to make. FATV projects that in the ward race in Ward 1, Bill Brady will be elected Ward 1 City Councilor in the city of Leominster, winning a decisive victory over challenger Mike Stassen, who's currently a member of the Leominster School Committee.
There we go. So
Bill Brady getting 66% of the vote in that race for Ward 1 City Council. Again, I thought it was an interesting matchup. We saw the debate. It was a very cordial debate. 2 very likable guys, but I think given Brady's long history in Ward 1, the number of people he knows from the old Sonoma restaurant, his current restaurant, this isn't much of a surprise.
No, and I think he campaigned pretty hard too. I mean, I'm not so sure that. I think he just simply out-campaigned Stassen as well in terms of his outreach out in the community. Like you said, Kevin, he's a very well-liked guy. So
he is.
It's not a surprise.
So now that is 100% of the votes in from both Leominster and Fitchburg at 8:57 p.m. tonight, less than 1 hour after the polls close. All 100% of the results are in from Leominster and Fitchburg. They make our job easier and easier every year, don't they, Mark?
They do. So we got some things to announce, I think.
So we do. In the school committee at-large race in Leominster, the top vote getter is Sal Perla at 3,494 votes. Coming in second is Brandon Robbins with 3,352 votes. Coming in third is Melissa Bible at 3,121 votes. And losing her seat this evening, long-time incumbent Sue Kohler with 2,980 votes. A close race, but an incumbent went down tonight in the Twin Cities.
It's a little surprising.
Yeah, it is. Your thoughts on that, Michael? I mean, Sue Kohler was the top vote getter last time out in the at-large race.
Can we let the cat out of the bag? Because I believe I'm on record as predicting that to you early before tonight.
That's a bold prediction.
I just, again, and it's nothing against the candidates.
Right.
The social media outreach made a big difference, in my opinion, this year.
Did. And Mayor Dean Mazzarella reelected with 71% of the vote. Claire Frieda, the top vote getter in the at-large race in Leominster. Bill Brady winning the Ward 1 seat. Going to Fitchburg, we look at Mayor Stephen DiNatale winning reelection with 66% of the vote. We have the 5 candidates for at-large: Sam Squalia, Marcus DiNatale, Amy Green, Anthony Zarella, and Sally Cragen in that order. In the school committee race.
Right, you got 2 of those in Leominster, right?
Yeah, in the school committee race, Rosemary Reynolds, Peter Stevens, and Maritza Knight were the top 3.
Those are going to be some good meetings.
Those are going to be some fun meetings to watch, aren't they? That's good.
We got two contested ward races in Leominster? School committee ward races?
Oh, that's right. Let me get through just Fitchburg. One last is Ward 6. Derek Cruz defeating Olivia Tran. He will be a new face on the city council. You were asking about Leominster School Committee. We had 2 races there.
Right. 1 and 3.
It looks Greg Renchkovsky.
Right.
How do you say that name?
I think you got it close.
Looks like beat Nicole Stassen, but by only 14 votes, 654 to 640. So a 14-vote difference there. And in Ward 3, a decisive victory by Greg Thomas, 972 over Ray German at 414 votes.
You're going to see a totally transformed Leominster School Committee.
You sure are.
Final thoughts, gentlemen?
I think that's a good one, Mike.
Yeah.
I think the school committee in Leominster, I think the pandemic had a lot to do with it, frankly. And I think that remolded the Leominster School Committee. City Council, I mean, once John Dombrowski, sadly, once Gail died and John Dombrowski dropped out, we were going to have a change there. And I don't think either one of those things are a surprise, obviously. And as Mike also pointed out, Mayor Mazzarella ends up winning bigger in Leominster than Steve DiNatale did in Fitchburg even.
So 2 incumbents go down to defeat, 1 in Leominster, 1 in Fitchburg. Sue Kohler, Leominster school committee member, a longtime school committee member, losing her seat. And in Fitchburg, Thomas Hughes, who's an incumbent, although he wasn't elected, he was appointed, came up short tonight in his bid to win a term on his own for councilor at large. So there will be a couple of new faces on the Fitchburg City Council next year, with Derek Cruz and Sally Cragen joining.
I don't think there's any mistake about it. In Leominster, the conservative styled candidates, it seems, won.
No question. This was a night for conservatives.
I mean, I don't. This isn't the national scene, and
Right.
a lot of these issues have nothing to do with that. Although we have an interesting race, I guess, in Virginia tonight, right? That we're going to
the governor's race in Virginia. Yeah.
But I think on a local level, to the extent it's nonpartisan, most of the people who won are conservatively bent, right? Mike,
Right.
we agree with me?
And I just want to say, I want to just basically congratulate Sue Kohler on many years, I believe 20-something years of public service. Really, very middle of the road too, worked with both sides, not particularly much of a lightning rod.
Voice of reason.
Voice of reason.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I understand that these new candidates that came in ran on some conservative platform, conservative credentials. I hope that they can work together with some of the existing members on there, sort of carry on her legacy, even if they have some different opinions than she did or some different views than she did. Hopefully.
It was definitely a slate election in Leominster. They pooled their resources. It was a slate election. We don't see many of those.
No.
But we saw we see it a lot in Fitchburg, but we don't see it often in Leominster, and we saw it tonight. And we also saw, after the scare that Mayor Mazzarella got in 2017, people questioned, is he no longer invincible? Is he no longer Mr. November? I think that question was answered tonight. There were a lot of different variables in 2017,
I think,
but with 71% of the vote, he reestablished his dominance over over the political landscape in the city of Leominster tonight.
He took no prisoners with this campaign. It's clear.
One other observation I'd like to make is a big difference between the Leominster City Council and Fitchburg City Council, and I'd love to get your take on this. Fitchburg is welcoming now Derek Cruz to the city council, who defeated by not a very big margin another very young candidate. Fitchburg is attracting younger candidates, not only to run, but they're actually winning. I think there's only 2 city councilors in Fitchburg over the age of 60. And I think there's probably only 2 city councilors in Leominster under the age of 60.
Well,
I mean, Dave's the youngest city councilor, and he's no spring chicken.
He's the second tenure.
Yeah,
he's the second tenure. Too.
Yeah. Why aren't we attracting younger candidates to your city to run and serve?
I don't know the answer to that question, other than the fact that, look, 90% of the business that comes through the city council is, pretty pro forma. I mean, things you have to do. I mean, it's not. None of this stuff is necessarily, controversial, or a lot of it's very pro forma. So we seem to function pretty well. I mean, the Leominster City Council, for the most part, we have a few debates here and there, but I think our meetings are relatively short. I have pride myself on keeping the meetings brief.
Well, they asked Rick Marshall left.
I love Rick. Rick's a good friend, but I am an efficiency person when it comes to time. Yep. And as council president, I've tried to, enact some changes to get that to be even more efficient. But we work pretty good. We work pretty well together, I think. I really do. I think we do.
Mark Bedanza, it has been a pleasure again.
Likewise.
Our 4th time here. Our 4th time. Michael Della Monica, thank you for popping in.
Thanks for joining us, Mike.
I think I may have offended Dave Cormier. I see him in the control room, but I'm sorry, you're not a spring chicken, but that's just...
And he acts older than he is.
In his defense, I think he was born 70 years old. So Mayor Stephen DiNatale winning decisively tonight with 65% of the vote. Mayor Dean Mazzarella in Leominster winning even more decisively tonight with 71% of the vote. Derek Cruz will be joining the City Council in Fitchburg in Ward 6. Todd Deacon and Bill Brady will be joining the Leominster City Council as new members. That's going to wrap up our coverage of FATV election 2021 coverage. And I just want to send a big thank you out to everyone behind the scenes who makes this work. Glenn, Fossa, Alex, Vera, their cameraman, Kevin did an excellent job. All of our volunteers, and they're going to run their names up in the credit. And I just, before you turn the TV off, look at those credits, because those people were out there at the polling locations relaying these numbers in, and because of them, we were able to give you 100% of the election results in both Leominster and Fitchburg before 9 p.m. In under 1 hour, you had 100% of the results in. In the control room, our producer, Robin Como, Travis Falk, Nate Glennie, Ann Bisbee, all, and the rest back there that have been doing just an outstanding job. Thank you so much from all of us.
Congratulations
And
to all
thank
the
you to
candidates.
Leominster TV and WLPZ for carrying tonight's FATV production of Election 2021. I'm Kevin Cormier along with Mark Vidanza and Michael Della Monica. Bye-bye.
Good night.